Hi, this is Jeremy Moskowitz, and this is part 3 of how to use PolicyPak scripts to query Azure AD to then do interesting things like apply group policy preferences or PolicyPak items depending on if a user or computer is a member of an Azure AD group. In this video, we're going to assume that you have nothing but MDM. So this is the PolicyPak MDM solution, and you don't have PolicyPak Group Policy, and you don't have PolicyPak Cloud. You've only got PolicyPak MDM. Now, if you only have PolicyPak MDM, we still recommend that you do what I showed you in the first video, which is to do and in fact use group policy as a small scale test before doing what you're about to do here. So in our small scale test, we set up the Azure AD module, the get computer group script, and the user side script all in one group policy object. We then applied it to our endpoint, which was group policy joined and also Azure AD joined. And hey, look at that. It worked perfectly. So once you know that that works, now you're ready to do what's next, which is you can take the scripts and you're just going to drag them one at a time into a folder. And we'll talk about what we do with that folder next. As you do this, I would suggest you also rename them to have the order you're doing it in. Like, so 01, that's going to be the first one. So that's the install Azure AD module script. Let's go to the second one here and we'll do 02, and that's going to get the computer side stuff. Okay. Then the third thing we're going to do is to grab the user credentials script that we already produced. Okay, because it's already wrapped up nicely in PolicyPak format. And then the last thing we want to do is let's just go right for it and take the group policy preference or PolicyPak item that we wrapped up earlier and shove it in there as well. And I'll show you how we're going to do this. Remember, what I showed you before, I like using group policy preferences shortcuts just as like a little tester item because shortcuts are really easy. You can see a desktop shortcut very quickly. But everything we're about to do, again, with the once you know what Azure AD group somebody's in, with item level targeting, you could do item level targeting everywhere and anywhere in PolicyPak land. So you just use that WMI query and use the query that I provided in the first video. For either the user side or the computer side. Okay, so once you've taken your group policy settings and you've translated them down to XML settings, what we're going to do then is going to use the PolicyPak exporter utility. Okay, so PolicyPak exporter will be on machines that you also have the MMC console. So here's the exporter utility. We're going to create a new MSI installer, and we're going to add the files from this folder. And we're going to do it one by one. So we're just going to add, well, we'll select all of them, I mean. But notice how the order is what we wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hey, look, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's good. We can see that the order matches. The one thing you have to change here is you don't want it to hit users and groups because we're not targeting users really. We want to say to do this user side script thing for every user on the computer. See how it says all users? So we're changing it that even though this is a user side script, we're forcing it to go for every user on the computer. Okay, same thing here. This group policy preferences item, that's really a user side item. We're forcing it to go for every user on the computer. So we'll go ahead and click next here, and we'll call this PolicyPak MDM and Azure AD check. Okay, so that's the name of our MSI, all right, or whatever. So PolicyPak Azure AD group demo. Okay, so there it is. So at this point, I'm going to pause the video for 2 seconds and get this MSI over to my Azure AD join machine. Hang tight for 2 seconds while I do that. Okay, we're back. So now this machine is Azure AD joined only. Okay, and the idea is that he already has a client-side extension delivered using your MDM service. He's got a license delivered using your MDM service. And you did this before in the walk before you run video and also you're kind of getting started with PolicyPak MDM. You've already done this. Now what we're doing is we're going to take this, we're going to use our imagination just so I don't have to wait for Azure or Intune, MobileIron, or AirWatch. I'm just going to run this by hand. But again, in the real world, this just happens naturally, okay? When you use your MDM service. I'm just kind of accelerating the hands of time here. Type set, do I see it? Okay, so if I don't see it right away, that might mean I have to log off and log on. So let's go ahead and do that. That was one of the caveats. So go ahead and log off first here, logging back on as my Azure AD only guy here. All right, this will trigger the script once again. All right, we'll give this a second to settle in, and then let's take a look here and type set at command prompt, and There we go. So we can see Azure AD Groups is here, but where's the computer side stuff? Well, that's going to require a reboot. So I'm going to pause once again. And actually, I don't want to pause yet because the group policy preference item, that's coming down also. Oh, there we go. As I spoke. So that comes down also and evaluates to see if the group membership that you said through the WMI query is in fact there. And you can see certainly did. It actually took effect right there. Let me go ahead and restart the machine, and I'll come back and we'll see that when I log back on after rebooting, we'll see the computer side. Hang tight. Okay, I've now rebooted and I'm logging on again as my Azure only guy. And by this point, computers probably already ran the script, looked to Azure to see what's the story, and perform the work. But let's go ahead and log on and take a look at see what happened. Okay, here we go. So if I were to take a look and go to a command prompt and type set at the command prompt here, what do we see? Bingo, there it is. Azure AD computer groups. And you can see this computer is part of the groups called computer with computer in the name. So the point of the story is it's just that easy. Okay? All three of these videos started with doing the group policy version first, doing your small scale tests and making sure it works. Once you know it works, then you're off to the races. You just export and get it into an MSI, then you can zip, get it over to your MDM service to download, and you're off to the races. It may take a log off and a log on for the user side to kick in, and it definitely takes a reboot for the computer side to kick in. And at that point, you're good to go. And I hope this helps you out, and you're looking to get started with PolicyPak MDM real soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.